Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. So, if you've been watching my last couple of videos, I shared my curriculum picks for my first or upcoming first grader and my upcoming kindergartner. If you haven't been seeing those, I will link them below so you can check them out if you're interested. But today is all about family subjects. Um, Before I get going, though, I'm going to mention that this video is part of a collaboration hosted by Davene over at Common to Chaos and Shauna at Homegrown Homeschool, and I will be linking their channels below. I will also be linking the playlist where other moms are sharing their family subjects. So check that out when you're done with this video. Um, so my problem is that I have a lot of what could be termed family subjects. So I'm dividing this into two parts. Today is going to be my core family subject: science, history, geography, read alouds, those kind of things. And then next week, I'm going to share a video of what I'm going to call my extracurricular family subjects, which basically means things that aren't my core family subjects, things like art or music or etiquette or nature walk, those type things would be my extracurricular. I don't know if I'm defining that exactly right, but that's kind of how I'm doing it to make this not a crazy long video and kind of break it into pieces of what is kind of our essential family stuff and what is more of the fun fluff, I guess. Anyhow, all that to say, that's what we're doing today, and I'm really excited to be sharing these with you. I have put a lot of thought and time into our family subjects for this year, into all of our subjects, but I feel like history in particular has been a big one for me, so I'm excited to be showing you what we're going to be using. So when we start our family subjects, I'm not including kind of our Bible time, our scripture memory verse time, our prayer time, our memory work stuff. That is kind of separate from our school to me because we do those even when we don't do school. So that's kind of more of our family devotion time. If you want to see what we do for that, let me know. I'm happy to make a video on what I plan to do for that for this coming year. But this is starting into more of like curriculum, not our family time. Okay, so with that, we're going to start with our Bible curriculum, which is going to be the same that we used last year, just going a grade up, building on the rock. And this level is wisdom. I think the last level we did was called truth. Kinder level. And we're going to be doing this for both my kindergartner and my first grader. I think it's my kindergartner is fully able to keep up just based on last year. We did kinder with when she was in preschool, and it's great. And I have really, really liked this as a Bible curriculum. So I'm excited to be jumping a little deeper in for this year. So this is what we're doing for Bible and worldview. I suppose you could kind of call those two. And then for history. So history is kind of like the big one for me because I put a lot of thought and time into this, and I changed my mind so many times on history, and I think I'm really happy with what I've come up with. Um, the spine of what we're going to be using, the main spine, is going to be this Story of Civilization, Volume 1, The Ancient World. So you're studying ancients. Now, this curriculum is actually a Catholic curriculum, and that creates a problem for me in that I can't use the following books because I'm not Catholic, and it just diverges too much for me. But with ancients, where, Protestant and Catholic kind of break apart is around the time of Christ. And all the ancient history is the same. So the last few chapters of this, when we touch on the time of Christ, I will have to be very careful in reading out loud. I'll go ahead and underline or mark the things that I would read differently. But since I'm reading it with my first grader and kindergartner, I'm not like giving this to them to read. I'm fully confident in my ability to do that. Reading through it already, and I have pre-read it, I see no problem. And I see the areas where I differ, and it's not going to be a challenge. But the majority of this, up until those last few chapters, is the same. And I'm really, really pleased with this spine. This is a great story narrative approach to history, similar to like Story of the World or what's the other one I'm thinking? There's a secular one. I want to say History Odyssey, but I'm not sure if that's what it's called anymore. The one by Pandia Press, but kind of that similar style of very story based. But I like this one better. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on why I like this one better, but I'm planning to make another video on this because what I've done is I've taken this and then we're going to add pieces of this in with it. This is our main, this is going to be the priority, but when we have time, we're going to add the sections in Child's History of the World that match and kind of read it alongside. But then what I've done is I had actually created my own, and I hope the glare on this isn't too bad. Maybe if I flip this so that there's no plastic cover on it, that will help. So I have created my own teacher's guide for history this year because I originally was going to use Story of the World. So I got their curriculum, I got their book of activities and all of that. And then I decided not to use Story of the World, which I would be happy to make a video on that if you're interested. And then I thought, well, I was looking around, I was having a hard time finding something, but Zaitra thought Easy Peasy. So I did a ton of work. I took everything off Easy Peasy's website and formatted it for myself so that I could print it out and make it into a book. And then I found this. So, and then I decided I wanted to add this. So, what I've done essentially is I have taken this story of civilization and I've added in all the activities that I like and all the book recommendations that I like from Story of the World. I've added in all the activities and pieces that I like from Easy Peasy. And I had referenced everything in here. I've linked up the chapters in here that go with the chapters in here. I'd even gone through our history encyclopedias and found the pages that work with the different chapters of this book. So I've done a bucket load of work, guys. So if you're interested in seeing inside my teacher's guide for our history this year and a little bit more inside this history, let me know. I'm happy to share that. It has been a ton of work, but I'm really looking forward to teasing. Oh, the other piece that I didn't mention is I have gone through hundreds of picture books from our library around ancient times, marking which ones I like, which fit with my belief system, which ones I feel like are at the good levels, and also marking which ones will go with which chapters of this. So I have a ton of picture books to reference, and I do plan to lean heavily on picture books along with this because I think for my kids at that age, like, why not? I do plan on having my daughter use one of these notebooks and create a history notebook of what she learns. My older daughter, my younger one, she doesn't have to do that unless she wants to. But my older one loves drawing pictures. She loves writing about what she reads. I'm going to be having her do some narration with history. So I thought this would be perfect. I can write it down. She can do a picture, the coloring, pages that we do. We can put in there any activities, and she's going to create a notebook for history. And then kind of along with that, I'm not really sure exactly how we're going to incorporate, but I do plan to pull in, and I don't have the book here yet, so I'm not going to show you, but I can pop a picture up. We're going to plan on reading 50 Famous Stories Retold by James Baldwin, amongst how it fits within our history. I haven't quite figured out exactly when and where we're going to put each piece, but I do plan to pull that in at some point during our history. Okay. So that's history. Hopefully that wasn't way too chaotic for you. Like I said, please let me know if you want more information on how I'm doing that. And if you want to see my teacher's guide, I'm happy to share it with you guys after I walk you through it. So if you want to see it, if you want access to it, let me know. I'm happy to share it. It doesn't have any copyrighted material in that. I've only referenced like the pages that I would use from the Story Over the World material. I didn't actually input to their material, so I could freely share that without breaking copyright for other people. Okay. And then for geography, I do plan to have my kids do, as you saw, if you watch the videos, they do have each a geography workbook that's really, really basic, really, really simple. But I also plan to incorporate pieces of this home geography by C.C. Long, as well as pieces from the beginning of Charlotte Mason's elementary geography. So we're going to, at some point throughout the weeks, just pull out and talk about different aspects of geography. So I think these will be a good complement to what they will be doing in their workbooks. Okay, science is another one that I'm kind of excited about. Again, I hope the glare on these isn't way too much, so let me pull a cover around, just trying to make that easier for you guys. But this is one I saw a while ago, and I thought, man, if I'd learned science that way, I would probably love science. I did not love science. My science book was dry and boring. Nothing against my mom. She had a lot of kids she was teaching. She was the very beginning of homeschooling, but science is one of those things that I'm just going to do differently. So we're going to be doing it family style, not individual by grade. And we are going to be trying, and I'm really, really hoping this works as well as I think it will, scientific connections through inquiry. Now, if you're not familiar with this isn't the time to do a huge video on it. I'm happy to do a video on it. It's based on, if you're familiar with Building Foundations of Scientific Understanding by Bernard Neville. If you're familiar with that, this is based on that curriculum. It's very individual concept approach, mixing all of the sciences together, mixing, the earth science with the physical science, with the astronomy, all those pieces mixing together because our world works together. It's very hands-on, but the experiments are not in depth because I'm not an experiment person. Very much the child doing things and discovering aspects of science and scientific theory throughout what they're doing and your conversation with them, questions to prompt them, activities to give them to cause them to think about it. So I'm really hopeful for this and hesitant because I just haven't done anything like this. And either growing up myself, like with our homeschool, this is nothing like what we did. And I haven't tried teaching science, anything like this. So this could be either absolutely amazing or a big flop. And I'm really hoping for the absolutely amazing. If you want to flip through this, again, comment below. I'm happy to do that. But I'm hopeful and I'm really, hesitantly really excited about this one. Okay, so then we are also going to be just daily reading through poetry. And I've just downloaded the anthology from Ambleside Online and printed it into a booklet, put my own little pictures for each month. Again, I know these probably are super blaring. I'm sorry, guys. Um, and so we're going to just read a poem a day. These are written for a poem a day for each school day, uh, sometime in our morning routine. And then the last two things I'm going to show you right now is our literature and our read alouds. And there's a question on that. What's different between literature and read aloud? And I guess for me, what I'm considering literature are the reads that I'm scheduling into our school week. So we're going to read, a chapter of this day, a chapter of this day, you name it, or this many chapters a week. Read alouds or are more the optional ones that we'll pick up and read during the day, because I do have a time for reading aloud to my kids just stories. And so these are the stories that we will be reading. And with regard to my read alouds, they're completely optional. This is a pile of read alouds that I think will be great options for this year, but if they don't fit, if we don't like them, if I find something I like better, I'm not married to these. The literature, I wouldn't say I'm married to them, but these are ones I would like to do. Okay, so starting with the literature. One thing that I've done is I've printed off some fairy tales from Ambleside Online's website. There's like 9 of them, and I plan to read these 9 fairy tales throughout our school year. And then with that, I got this tome of a book, The Complete Tales of Uncle Remus. And I do not know that I plan to do The Complete Tales of Uncle Remus. We may not make it through all these, but I would like to read these kind of throughout the year. Schedule them in so many a week. And I think these are going to be fun and charming little tales to read with my kids. We also have James Herriot's Treasury for Children. So we're going to read this throughout the year, so many a week or once every so many weeks, because I think there's only 9 or 10 stories in there. And then daily, I want to be reading an Aesop fable with my children. So we're going to be reading this one. It's just nicely illustrated, and I had it on hand. So those are going to be like the literature reads, the one that I'm assigning in. And then for the ones that are just kind of read alouds options, again, I'm not married to these. If we don't like them, we'll drop them. If we find something we like better, we'll use that. But this is kind of a pile that I've collected because it does help me when I'm going to grab a new read aloud to be like, oh, these are ones that I think are roughly within my kids' levels and ones that I think they enjoy. So first we have Betsy Tacy by Maud Hart Lovelace. I really want to incorporate Little House in the Big Woods this year. I think they would really, really enjoy this. They're finally at the level that I think this first one is a good level for them. Maybe we'll move into Little House in the Prairie if they love it. We'll see. I know the books do get a little bit, they need to be a little older for some of the older books, but these first books are just charming. And then this one you probably can't see, but The Story of Dr. Dolittle, a childhood favorite. And I think the kids would think it's funny, so we might try that. I want to try the All of a Kind Family. I know there's like 4 books on this series. I want to just try the first one and see if this is a good level for them. If not, we might come back to this one. And then I want to do the My Father's Dragon series. I don't have the middle book. I'll have to rent that from the library, but I have these first 2. So we did read My Father's Dragon this year as one of our read alouds this year, but I think it'd be fun to start over, read this, and then read the following books because there's 2 of them. Another one that we want to read, and my husband might be the one who reads this to our kids, is Hero Tales, a family treasury, a true story from the lives of Christian heroes. And so this is just a couple of short chapters on different people who are like heroes in the Christian faith. We have Gladys Aylward, William and Catherine Booth, Amy Carmichael, Adoniram and Amy and Anne Johnson, David Livingston, Martin Luther, Dwight L. Moody, Samuel Morris, and more. And they're just like short, little chapters. They're about that long, page and a half, with a few questions to talking about the different people that are written for children. And I remember being read these growing up, and they're just a great introduction to the lives of some people who have done some amazing things for God. And so I think these would be a good read with our kids. I also have these Wildlife in Woods and Fields and By the Pond and River by Arabella Buckley. So we might just read these kind of as a fun / informational read with my kiddos. And then we have the Trumpet of the Swan. My husband's currently reading the Charlotte's Web with them, and since that seems to be about the level, I thought, well, maybe we'll try Trumpet of the Swan then and see if this is an appropriate level for them as well, because I think this is a fun story. And then 2 more that I have on this list of possible read-alouds, but which I don't own, so will be either library books or maybe I'll buy them if we like them enough. But one would be Tale of Bramley Hedge. I think they would really, really like that. And then Tum Tum and Nutmeg are the other ones on that list. Okay, I think that's everything. Comment any questions you have below, anything you'd like to see further inside it. Anything that I already have reviews on or videos on, I will link those below so that you can see inside anything that I mention. And don't forget to check out that playlist where other moms are sharing their family subjects. Yeah, I can't believe I'm actually at the point where I'm cementing our family subjects for next year. That's nuts. And I'm really looking forward to trying some of these. So again, Comment any questions. I would love to know what you're using for your SNAP family subjects, so comment those below, and I hope you guys are having as much fun getting ready for the coming school year as I am.